The situation around online banking fraud is a global context. Global context in the sense that it's not just a phenomenon that is happening in Nigeria, it's across the world, particularly when individuals or groups have access to password of individual, maybe PIN of your ATM, as well as your bank account, your BVN, as well as other secretive numbers that we use to access your account. And in Nigeria, we have had it a lot that even the banking web have not been spared in terms of banking fraud, particularly when some banks have challenges trying to upgrade their website. But in Nigeria, it has become a phenomenon that even the government have been calling for several times that they should find solutions to it. And you actually talking about why banks are not able to curb this kind of situation. It's as a result that the banks themselves, some of their staffs are involved and some of their key technical IT guys are also involved in the banking fraud. Imagine people having access to your account without you knowing, or people who manage your account having access to your PIN number. So this is why it is very difficult to get over this online banking fraud.
The rise in fraudulent activities online is undermining confidence in Nigeria's digital landscape. According to our 2021 report from Palo Alto Networks, Nigeria loses an estimated $127 billion to internet bank fraud annually. However, experts warn that the actual losses could even be higher as scammers employ increasingly sophisticated tactics. Fraudsters engage in various schemes, with one prevalent method being automated teller machine (ATM) and debt card swapping. This involves deceiving unsuspecting victims at ATM points by swapping their cards while memorizing their PINs. Victims often only realize the fraud after the fact, facing significant financial losses.
There are various aspects to online bank fraud. For example, we have the phishing attack, we have the ATM skimming, we have the POS skimming, which are different strategies and different techniques to carry out online bank fraud. For phishing, for example, phishing is a technique used to manipulate somebody to click on a particular link, thereby ensuring that the person's detail is exposed or the person's information is exposed. Why ATM skimming? ATM skimming is a form of bank scamming techniques whereby one is a criminal places a camera and also a duplicate keyboard on an ATM machine and a skimmer. So once somebody inserts his ATM card into the ATM machine, the skimmer will skim through the card and capture the details in the card, while the camera would capture the person while the person is inputting the PIN on the ATM machine. And there's also ATM jackpotting. ATM jackpotting is a technique whereby an insider, which is somebody that works in a bank or have access to the back end of the ATM machine, can actually put in a malware in the ATM machine, thereby misconfiguring the ATM machine and allowing the ATM machine to work without passing through the necessary or regular process. So, for example, it can misconfigure the ATM machine to release money, let's say 1,000 naira note every 2 a.m. in the middle of the night. So, because the person who has done that knows the configuration, the person can just go to the ATM machine and by 2 a.m. on the dot, the ATM machine, because it's infected with malware, can begin to release certain the amount of the note and the quantity of notes that it has been configured to do without the need of you even inserting an ATM card.
Online fraud isn't confined to physical service points. Many fall victim to scams from the comfort of their homes or offices. For instance, individuals like Mrs. Alabi Ojo Olowu and Emeka Uzo fell prey to schemes initiated through phone calls and social media, leading to substantial financial losses. Despite efforts such as biometric registrations, electronic and internet-related financial crimes persist. While stakeholders, including the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, and telecom operators attempt to address these challenges, the responsibility for safeguarding against fraud ultimately falls on individuals. Cybersecurity experts advise Nigerians to exercise caution and avoid falling for offers that seem too good to be true. They emphasize the importance of protecting banking data, urging individuals not to share OTPs or other sensitive information, especially over the phone. Additionally, vigilance when using ATM cards and POS terminals is crucial to prevent card swapping or skimming.
The first reason why banks are finding it difficult is because banks are more sensitive to compliance than security. What they want to do is to ensure that they meet the necessary compliance. But for one to be able to beat these guys and these criminals, you have to go beyond compliance. You have to look at the best practices that is now. Let's say a compliance requirement is released 2021. Between 2021 and 2023, most banks would still be working with the compliance requirement for 2021 because the new compliance requirement has not been released, or between 2021 and 2024, the new compliance requirement has not been released. So banks will be working with 2021 compliance instead of working with best practices as at 2024. So if you're working with best practices as at 2024, the tendency for you to have criminals that want to manipulate the system would be limited and reduced, because you are not just working with compliance, you are working with best practices as at the updated best practices as at the day and at the time you're putting up your measures in place. So another reason why banks want to are finding it quite difficult to checkmate online banking fraud is the fact that most of this crime usually happen with an insider, and that would mean that that's a form of crime called an insider threat. So that would mean that somebody inside is actually releasing information about a banker's information to a third party. So that invariably means that it's either the person is a criminal, and that means they've not carried out extensive background check on the person that is being represented, or the person has been, in a way, the bank has done something in a way that makes the person want to align with a third party. Because as it stands, there are 5 major reasons why an organization will fall victim to cyber attack. And that includes a bank as an organization falling victim or becoming a target to an attack. One of the reasons is, one of it is because of what they are. What they are largely talks about the kind of services that they offer. As a bank that operates in the financial industry, you will always be prone to attack because you are a financial. You deal with money, you deal with funds. So because of that alone, you are prone to cyber attack. Another reason is because of what they know, which would mean that the bank largely has information about everybody that operates an account with them. So if somebody wants to get information about another person, a bank can be a target. Another thing is because of what they did, which can come in form of the bank probably took a decision against, let's say, an attacker or a criminal or somebody that it may be a wrong decision, it may be a good decision, but a decision against somebody and the person did not agree with the decision the bank took. So the person can align with a third party to attack the bank. So because of what the bank. Then the fourth reason why an organization will fall victim to cyber attack, and that includes a bank, is because of what they did not do. And when we're talking about what they did not do, we're talking about the bank is supposed to ensure that they comply with best practices. They are not doing that. The bank is supposed to ensure that they carry out background checks on their employees. They did not do that. The bank is supposed to ensure that they buy licensed softwares. They did not do that. In the course of cutting costs, they decided to buy pirated software. And pirated softwares are vulnerable softwares. So the banks are supposed to put in the necessary two-factor authentication, create awareness on multi-factor authentication for individuals that operate accounts with them. They are not doing that, and that is making individuals that operate accounts with them to be not to be enlightened in line with preventing that attack. So now, what can one do? One that is a bank, one that is an account holder, what can you do to ensure that you don't fall victim to online bank fraud? One thing you can do is to ensure that you don't have easy and guessable passwords. Your password and your credentials should not be a sequential number. What I mean sequential, it should not be 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. It should not be a pattern number. Pattern would mean that, on our gadget, there is 1, 2, 3, then the next line is 4, 5, 6. You can create a pattern like 4, 1, 2, 3. So it should not be a pattern number. Another thing is that you need to activate biometrics. Activate biometrics on your devices, on your mobile app, banking applications. And activate biometrics so that your biometric is your unique identity. Then we also need to ensure that we don't post our account details online, because there are most of the celebrities, most of the times, influencers, they want to do give away, and they ask people to post their account details online. That's you releasing your account number, your full name, and you, as a result of that, you can be carried identity theft can be carried out on you, because all the information needed for them to carry out that attack is available freely on Twitter or Instagram or whatever social media platform you probably must have released your number to. Also, as an individual, you need to ensure that you stay updated with what is happening. The attack strategy for yesterday is completely different from the attack strategy for today. So one needs to always be updated with what is happening, how it is happening, and how you can stay secure while operating and surfing the internet, especially when you're using a mobile phone. And mobile phones, again, your mobile phone can be infected with malware. And if your mobile phone is infected with malware, it means that as you are, let's say it's infected with a malware called keylogger, it logs every key tab on your keyboard. And if you're imputing your username, it logs it. If you're imputing your password, it logs it. And once it does that, it can send it to the command and control center of that particular malware. And the criminal will have your login credentials and also have your username and your password. And may also even have a way of bypassing your OTP. So these are some of the things one needs to do and put in place to ensure that they don't fall victim to online fraud. Then finally, I would just want to say, for especially those that engage in loan applications to collect loan or apply for loan. It's dangerous, especially when the loan application does not fall under the regulated loan application that we have in the country, because they request for a whole lot of information about you, about your person, where you live, your maiden name, your parents' name. They request for a whole lot of information, and the thing is that those information, where they are saving those information, is not secure. So they can release those information online. They have a central database that they put those information. So even those that are not qualified to have your data, they would eventually have your data. And when they have your data, that can now be used to carry out an identity theft on them.
In the face of evolving fraud tactics, individuals must remain vigilant and proactive in protecting their financial assets from online threats.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.